Yo, what's up, everybody? Geektastic Cypher here on your favorite channels,
Yo,
all your
yo.
favorite channels. How you been, Jaws? How you been?
I'm good. I'm good. Lots of ends of eras and
Yo,
lots of things just popping up on you real quick. Just like, I didn't know that was out already. I didn't know that was out already. That's next week.
yeah, Into the Spider Verse had the premiere, or sorry, Across the
Hmm.
Spider Verse. Apologies.
Oh, right.
Across the Spider Verse had their premiere yesterday. Shout outs to Patrick O'Keefe, my homie who used to do the posters for Hip Hop Karaoke here in Montreal, who worked on the last two and the third one that's going to come out in I think a year
Glow
for all the
up.
Sony animated Spider-Man movies. So there's that. But yeah, dude,
And then I think, let's see, June the 6th is supposed to be Transformers, which is next week.
June the 6th is the which? Oh yes, Beast.
Transformers,
Yeah,
Rise
yeah,
of the
yeah, yeah.
Beast.
Sorry, it's just because I remember you were telling me that the animated one got delayed.
Oh, yeah. But no, I'm talking about the movie,
Right, right, right,
the
right,
live
right,
action
right,
movie.
right. Well, the other one's going to be an animated movie too, though. No, right? Or is
This
it a series?
so this one that's coming out is supposed to be like an origin story movie. So the
Okay,
one with Chris Hemsworth and a bunch of other um like famous actors that are in it,
yeah,
that's supposed to be more like a rise, I guess, a rise of Orion Pax, which is Optimus Prime, and
right.
Megatron, who was a miner, and he ends up becoming a gladiator and
Okay,
becomes a revolutionary, and then the friendship of them, and then obviously the the fallout of the
Fallout.
two
Right,
during the ensuing war, the civil war. That's what I'm trying to find. That's the word.
right. And then Megatron becomes evil, but some people have said to me that Megatron, if you know the whole story, you actually understand why he goes the way he goes. Is that what's your vibe on
Yeah.
that? Yeah, okay, because I've
So
never
so
actually read that
yeah.
before.
So basically, he is kind of like like I think the way it kind of works on Cybertron is that, or at least the main story they've been telling and retelling is that uh everyone has their role and you
Right.
can't function outside of that role. You always have to, like, this is what you're
Oh,
built for, that's what you do. This is what you're built for, that's what you do. That's it. And then Megatron kind of is like, no, that's not fair. Like I feel like I could do more and this and that. And
right.
like, no, you're just a minor. And so he's like, well, the only way to break out of it, I think, is that he becomes a gladiator, and he becomes a
Okay.
really good gladiator, a very popular one. And
Okay.
then during that time, he gets more notoriety and he starts espousing all these like revolutionary ideas,
Uh-oh.
and they would banner around this new icon, basically.
Uh-oh.
If I'm remembering it right, I don't think I'm doing this the full story justice, but
I
that's
just like
what it kind of was.
I just like that what you described sounds very much like what we would usually support. Like, when you watch any of like Rebels, Star Wars, all that stuff, you usually support the person. Or what was the one with Miles Teller, Divergent? Isn't the
Mm,
whole Divergent series based on the fact that you go into like one of these specific groups and do these specific things, and
yeah,
then the lead character, finds out like, oh, there's
she
an
doesn't fit into
underground
any of them.
movement. Yeah, right,
Doesn't fit into any of them, and then they kind of ostracize her, but then she's part of an underground movement, or
right,
some like ends up
right.
becoming that.
The idea that you're born to do one thing is always something that I think people will always fight against. So it's interesting that Megatron historically is the villain, but when you start to find out more, much like with Killmonger and Thanos, who is still crazy, but there's more to the balance
Mhm.
and the justification than just I'm an insane psychopath. Like
I mean,
Megatron,
again,
Starscream,
the
insane psychopath.
mhm.
Megatron, a man who was trying to fight for the people in some way.
And
Evil, but
then got mad with power.
right, yes.
I wanna
'Cause
rule everything.
power corrupts, which is the
Yeah.
ultimate thing we always find out, unfortunately.
Same with, if you read the book Animal Farm.
Right, yes.
If
The
you read the
pigs,
book
right?
Animal Farm. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they're the closest to humans, and they're supposed to be the most intelligent. And
Mhm.
supposedly, anyways, I won't go into long. We won't go there again. But yes, you mentioned a whole bunch of shows came to an end. Barry came to an end. Succession came to an end. What was the other one that came to an end? Ted Lasso. So it
Oh, Ted
is.
Lasso finished.
Yeah, yeah. If the
Oh,
episode didn't come out today, I think it comes out on Tuesdays. To be honest, I always watch it on Friday, so I'm not sure what day of the week it comes out. But Ted Lasso series finale. That was it.
oh,
3 and done. And
okay.
I think a lot of people did say once again that the show's energy was very much season one was perfect for the pandemic. The kind of like we all needed something really sweet and innocent and fun. And then they adapted the show to be more about this person and the life he's living and the people he's surrounded by and their lives. And it got a little more complicated and complex. And they end up covering a lot of interesting subjects. There's a moment where, for example, one of the African football players, because they're playing
Hmm.
football,
You said
makes
it
a
right.
yeah, football, makes a comment, and one of the politicians says, "Maybe you should just keep kicking the ball around," and then that character owns a restaurant, and their restaurant gets trashed by like alt right people,
Mm,
and you're kind of just like, man, that's that energy. But season one, you would have never seen anything like that. It would have never gotten that real.
right.
But by season three, you have alt right people trying to burn down a guy's restaurant because he speaks up about immigration in England. And that's
Right.
really interesting. Like, how do you get from point A to point B, make it entertaining, and not have people kind of scared of it, like back
Mhm.
away? Because that energy of something so positive, if you start to shift it into darkness, might not necessarily land with everybody. But that show does such a good job of transitioning through the seasons and dealing with the sadness and the weight of a lot of stuff that I always say Sudeikis did and
Mhm.
crew, because it's not just him, but that whole
Right.
crew, they did a great job with that show.
Good, good.
Did you ever get to watch any of it?
No, I've always been, like, listening about it through, the podcast I mentioned before,
Mm.
Waypoint.
All
So just
right,
hearing them talk about it and talk about all the stuff that comes up in the show and,
right,
um, feeling that there's something a little bit more going on with Ted Lasso and there's a reason that he's being so cheery and chipper. There's gotta be
right.
something going on that you're not getting the full gist of. Like, he
Yeah,
can't just be that happy-go-lucky guy,
all
and,
the
yeah, I
time,
think that Huh?
all the time, right? Like, he can't
Mm,
just be that one energy throughout the entire story.
right.
Yeah. Which again, I thought that's what we were gonna get. I thought it was gonna be
Mm.
that type of show the whole way through. Like how Krasinski did that good news thing on
Oh, yeah, yeah.
YouTube. Like you know what it is? Ted Lasso feels like Krasinski doing that good news series, and season one of it is like the news is so happy, and by the third season, the news is talking about mass murders, and you're just
Oh,
like,
yeah.
oh my god. But again, Lasso, the team landed it and did it well. What
Yeah,
have you
yeah.
been watching lately?
Um, what's her name? Gretsuko. There we go. I actually said the name. I was
Oh.
like, I have to remember
Oh! That's
how
a
to say
little
it. It's aggression,
yeah.
Gretsuko, and then
That's a
flow.
little, Netflix, like, Red Panda?
Yeah, so it's like the red panda
Okay.
girl, and, she's trying to be nice and cute and well, not she's not being cute, like, she's working at an office, and she
Right.
can't talk back to her higher ups or her boss or whatever, so she goes to a karaoke bar and just sings death metal, and so she gets the
Wow.
sign that says "Rage" on her forehead, and she got, like, thicker, like, eyeshadow around her ears, and her tongue comes out like what's his, Keith was it
Gene
Simmons?
yeah, Gene Simmons.
Gene Simmons and stuff,
Yeah.
and just so it's pretty good. It's in its 5th season right now, 10
Right.
episodes. And so now she has a boyfriend,
Okay.
and it's just her navigating that, and it's basically like Millennials, the show. Like, the
Oh,
show is definitely
yeah.
geared towards us and people that are trying to, like, figure out their life and what they're doing, and
What kind of anime is it? Because I know you and, like, a few other people have told me, like Andrew, our buddy, that you
Mhm.
used to be on a podcast with, Geeking Out at the Tower podcast, from way back when.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
guys have always explained to me that there's, I know fan service is something that's done in anime, but I don't think it's a type of anime. But
Yeah.
which genre of anime is this show?
I would probably say this is more slice of life.
Okay.
I
Okay.
know in this season they kind of talk about maybe how, like, one of the characters ends up kind of living in a what was it called again? An internet cafe, because he's kind of fallen on hard times and stuff.
Oh, okay.
So he has to kind of, you know, spend some time there and like do some odd jobs so he can get back on his feet and stuff. And he meets a friend of his that he was playing some online games with, and so she's living there, and she's like, you know what, I'm kind of fine living here. And he's like, I think later on in the series he kind of explains that it feels like she kind of gave up, like she feels
Mhm.
like society is like not helping her, and not like maybe like she doesn't have parents to fall back on. She doesn't have like actual friends to like really kind of reach out to. So she's just kind of doing odd jobs, like doing gig stuff,
Okay.
and then paying for her room at the internet cafe. And she's just kind of okay with it. Like she's kind of fine with the lot of like the lot that life is kind of the hand that life's kind of dealt her, and she kind of feels like she's given up kind of thing. And you're like, damn, like it
People
gets it gets really deep. It gets really
yeah.
interesting and deep and stuff like that.
People can live in internet cafes in Asia, East Asia, like Japan,
As long
Korea?
as you're paying for the room. So like it's so the way it does happen
Oh, wow,
where
okay.
you pay for your hour or
Right.
what, like whatever hours you're going to be there for.
Yeah.
And it's usually cheaper than getting a
Month
hotel room or buying or renting somewhere.
Wow.
Because usually the whole point of like a capsule hotel is to like, oh, I need to like pull an all-nighter at work. I'm not going to sleep at work. I'm going to sleep in this little thing,
Okay.
just sleep and then go, take a shower and then go back to work. But
Right.
the problem is that all of us, um, people that go to Japan that like, oh, I want to see these capsule hotels. This looks so cool. And
Yeah.
then that drove up the price of those rooms that were meant
Right.
for salary people to go and use, that they can't really use
So
them
that's
anymore.
what those hotels
So
were originally for? They were for, like
yeah,
interesting, I didn't know
for
that.
the salaried people that like, okay, I'm not gonna go all the way home to sleep
Right,
and come all the way back to the office because that's just so much commuting.
right.
Because like I mean, even though their train system is really good
Of
and
course.
their subways are really good, like
But either way, if you can
it's
cut
still a
down the
trek.
time
Yeah, it's still a trek.
I would still say that's an unhealthy way to work, because that does not sound like a work-life balance in any which way or form
No.
to have to stay in a hotel so you're closer to work so you can finish your work. But
Mhm.
I do understand setting up a system where people who feel they need to do that can at least have that option. And now, because of tourism, that option isn't even available to them,
Yeah,
which is kind of crazy. I
exactly.
never thought of that.
But yeah, the show's really good.
Yeah.
It's like slice of life, but then it does like, there's usually like some kind of conflict that's there.
All
And
right.
sometimes the conflicts just go well and beyond slice of life. It just goes like, and then you're just like, okay, sure, I'm here for the ride. Let's do this. Let's see how you get out of this.
Yeah,
So it's pretty cool.
I haven't watched any animes recently. I'm trying to think of the only animated show that I've watched recently is the one I mentioned to you guys, Unicorn Warrior Eternal, which
Mhm.
is, and I won't mess up their name again. Yeah, Jendi, which I think I said right finally. I'm
Genny
trying to
Tartakovsky.
Tartakovsky. I always forget how to say his last name. Tartakovsky. But yeah, I've been watching that show, and as an animated show, pacing wise, a little slow, just a little,
Mhm.
because
Which show
they're
you're what? Yo, Unicorn or
uni-
okay, okay.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
Unicorn Warriors Eternal.
Mhm.
Story wise, a little slow. 5 episodes in, we're still kind of only focusing on one character. I had originally hoped the show was going to be an ensemble type story because there's three or four characters. Well, I guess three characters because one of the
Mhm.
characters is a robot and doesn't really talk. So there's three. Yeah, it'd be interesting to see his backstory nonetheless. But still, like, if you're going to focus on the humans, granted that I'm down with that. And I'm hoping that what they're doing is similar to how like Succession just did. Each season is about a focus on a particular character.
Oh,
So
okay.
maybe this season is mostly about the female character, Matt. I think her name is Madeline. Uh,
Mhm.
yeah, because so far we've only just focused on her character, and she's the one with the biggest issue of some sort going on and needs to be addressed. And the for those of you who don't know what the story is, it's that there has been some magical force used so that these warriors who fight against this type of evil are reincarnated every so often by the robot who carries their souls, and their souls are connected to a human of that era. So throughout like the series can thankfully continue for as long as you want because you can just do eras over and over and over in different eras and different times. But in this one specifically, the young woman is Emma is the original character's name,
Okay.
is like dealing with, she's like a young woman, the daughter of like a well-to-do Brit old-fashioned steampunk era man, is getting married, and on her wedding day is when she gets hit and merge her soul with this other soul. And Emma doesn't want to let go, so she actually fights against the spirit taking over. Whereas
Mm,
the spirit has taken over the other two people completely. They
mm.
they they're done. Whoever they were before doesn't exist, and it's actually kind of sad and dark. But when you realize that they're there to save lives, you're just like, I guess this is okay. But it's kind of like, what was it that we always make fun of? Wonder Woman, where Steve comes back in what's his name's body.
Oh, okay. Yeah, yeah. Wonder Woman,
Yeah, 84.
1987, 84.
84, yeah. But yeah, it's kind of that thing of just like, oh, your body is taken over by this spirit and you just go along for the ride. You have no idea what's going on. But this one woman,
Well, is
her
that what they say in the movie, or we have no idea, and everyone's
well,
just speculating on the ramifications of?
in the movie, well, he doesn't remember anything because when the guy comes back and meets her later on,
Hmm.
he doesn't remember that anything had happened, which is, which is why people keep saying like, didn't she just sexually assault this guy? And I'm like, I mean, I guess in some way, yes, but I don't know that we guys, it's a comic book. There's a lot of
No,
horrible things that
they
happen.
did. I don't think when they made that movie they thought anything through.
Exactly.
They were just like, "Yeah, movie, whatever. It's a
Right.
comic book. Don't worry about it."
Right.
It's
The
like, what?
writers were just like, we want to bring Steve back. How do we do that? Oh, he inhabits some dude's body.
But it
All
just,
right.
but you made him like bathe in that
Lazarus.
the Lazarus. Not it's not really the Lazarus pit, but like he was
Oh, the
healing
like
in a little
Amazon.
thingy.
Yeah, the Amazonian like magic thing to heal him, right?
Yeah. Why,
Yeah,
why didn't you just use that?
yeah.
It's right there.
You're not wrong. There's like in DC, there's 101 ways to bring characters back from the dead in which they full on are conscious, aware, and can live lives after. And
Mm,
y'all chose the one way in which everyone could go, that's sus. Like that's questionable. What you did there, we don't know if we like it. And
yeah.
but yeah. But all this to say, the Unicorn Warriors Eternal, similar story with decisions being made and human lives being completely changed by what's happening, which is kind of unfortunate, but very entertaining. But a little slow, like I was saying, because 5 episodes in, and I don't know how many episodes for the show there are going to be, but we're only still focused on this one character and Emma fighting the spirit inside her for control, even though, there are moments where the others are telling her, hey, you need to let go and do your full power because this being or this monster is going to kill us. And if you don't let go, you're the strongest on our team. We're dead.
Mm.
And she keeps fighting it. She keeps going like, no. And they're like, okay, so I guess we die. Like, and then at one point she gets captured and she can't control it because the spirit's like, well, I don't want to die. So the spirit takes over and
Mm,
in usual anime cartoon style craziness ensues. So
right.
that's the closest to an animated thing that I've seen.
Okay.
And I don't. That's according to this, it is on Max and
Ah.
Adult Swim.
I
So,
know Harley Quinn just showed up on Netflix on
oh,
Canadian
interesting.
Netflix.
Okay.
So I
That's
know
it.
that.
I wonder why, because we have Max through Crave.
Well, I mean, I am assuming that I haven't checked to see how many seasons, but I'm pretty
Right.
sure it's just the first season or something.
Okay.
You know, it's
Okay.
one of those things like, oh, we got this. Let's
Right.
see how much people like it if they watch all of it within the month or so. You know, like
Yeah.
first 2 weeks. If not enough people have watched burn through the whole thing, then not,
Yeah.
we don't get the rest. Like
Oh,
One Punch Man. One Punch Man, we got the
yes.
first season on Netflix.
Right.
None of the rest of it came out on Netflix, but during season 3 or something, they're like
But I think
well far ahead.
is it on Prime now in Canada? It's out
No,
on something
One Punch Man is probably on Crunchyroll, I would assume.
in Canada.
Yeah, in Canada, I would
Okay.
assume.
Okay. But yeah, you're right. I do. That's one thing that when it comes to Netflix, I'm not sure how I feel about it. I mean, you know how I feel about Netflix anyways these days. I've canceled. I haven't joined back.
Mm.
I know I'm also nearing my deadline because they have that thing where if you don't join back within a certain amount of time, everything from your account gets wiped. So even the
Ooh,
history of your account will get wiped.
right.
So even if you join back, you'll have to start from scratch with your watch list, which almost
Start
feels like a
fresh.
yeah, which it like now that I'm saying it, I'm like, maybe that's what I would want. Like, I don't want you guys to have a record of the things I used to watch and my watching habits because you idiots have misused it so many times on your platform that it doesn't seem useful or entertaining to me because I keep getting really weird things suggested to me. So,
You sure someone else isn't messing up your algorithm? Like I had to separate mine so I
oh
didn't keep getting
yeah,
like not mystery stuff. What is it called again?
uh,
You know,
odd
the
suggestions.
death note, like you know what most women watch all the time?
Oh,
Murder
so
mysteries,
oh
and
yeah,
it's like,
yeah,
are you trying to kill me? Is that what you're doing? Why are you so fascinated by this?
yeah,
If he kills me, he will do it like this,
yeah, yeah.
or like this. Or if I kill him, hmm.
Yeah, murder mysteries.
Yeah.
That's funny. No, I mean I had separate profiles. There's like 4 profiles on my Netflix. My folks,
Mm.
myself, my partner, and then there's just a kids one that's a default that's always there,
Yeah.
which I actually use sometimes because I'd be like, well, what's a good cartoon that they're pushing right now? Because I
Mm.
don't feel like watching all the other, like you were saying, murder mystery crap or action stuff that's out there. Do you guys just have a simple cartoon that I can sit back like or a Nickelodeon show where I don't have to use my brain? Sure,
Mhm.
give me like 5 episodes of these random kids living some stupid life in a comic book shop or an amusement park. Who cares? Um,
Or
the
Fast and Furious.
right, the animated Fast and Furious, which is actually somehow tied into the real Fast and
I don't
Furious?
get it because I
Question
think it's
mark?
supposed to be Dom's younger brother, but
Yeah, dude,
I thought his younger brother was
Jacob.
John Cena.
Yeah. Did you
How
see
does
Fast 10?
No, I didn't see it. We
Okay.
talked about it last week.
Oh yeah, true. Yeah. Yeah, crazy film. Crazy film. I still don't know how I feel about it, but I'm not as because people keep thinking I'm upset with the Fast franchise, and it's more just like, well, no, you guys have just completely given up on logic, and that's not. I'm not upset, but
I think they gave up on Logic a while
yeah,
ago.
it's
A
true. It's
while
true.
ago. I
People d-
mean
people
I
done
mean,
been
like
coming back from the dead. So,
Mission Impossible
ooh, yeah,
is still, it's fine. He's Tom Cruise is running away from a sandstorm,
yeah,
and then he doesn't, and it's like, okay, good, good, all right,
yeah,
good, fine, I'm good, I'm fine with that. He's like,
yeah,
it's like, how is he outrunning a sandstorm? And then,
yeah.
and it's like, okay,
He's
good.
outrunning air and sand flying through the sky. Not a thing, buddy. But hey, Tom Cruise. If anyone could do it, Tom can, or at least
Yeah.
that's what we're supposed to believe, or that's what the Scientologist wants to believe. Anyways, but yeah, Fast X. I was actually thinking about this the other day. We all obviously know James Bond franchise. Do you
Mhm.
feel like the Mission Impossible franchise started off as just like, oh, I just want to make like some Mission Impossible movies, and then Tom Cruise started to go, I want to be a Bond character. I want to create a legacy that is Bond like, and that's why we now have Ethan. I don't remember his last name. I'm sorry, mobs, because I know he's gonna be
Hunt,
mad. Hunt, Ethan,
Hunt,
Ethan Hunt.
Hunt. Yeah, very simple.
Okay. Yeah, but I mean, the initial spell, that's not as good. James Bond.
No, so I again, like I said, that the first one was really good.
Yeah.
I feel the first one was really good because it was like Ethan Hunt gets burnt
Right.
and he has to figure out, and he has to like kind of clear his name and make sure like this knock list with all these other agents doesn't get out there and get sold in the black market.
Right.
And he kind of clears his name and all that. I Number 2 I don't like as much,
Mm,
even though it was directed by John Woo. It was very it's very John Woo, but I mean, that's what Tom Cruise kinda wanted, and it
right.
just gets really silly where they're fighting with the motorcycles,
Oh, yeah.
um, and there's, like, very, like, stuff that would make sense in a Hong Kong movie where, like,
But
a
not in the
scarf flies off and then the
yeah,
other person catches it, and you're like, "That
yeah.
would make more sense in a more East Asian movie,"
Right.
but it doesn't feel right. And then also, oh my god, and then the soundtrack is by Limp Bizkit, the intro.
Oh God,
My Way or the Highway is the main song for that movie.
you are remembering these movies way better than I do. The only
Well,
one
yeah, like I went back and I watched some of them, but I do remember
okay.
like that stands out. That was
Oh,
like peak Limp Bizkit era.
which one is the one where they put up that fake hallway that's like displaying while they're
Oh,
doing stuff
that
behind?
is 4 or 5. So I know with
That was I love that. That one
so
I really enjoyed.
can't remember if it was 4 or 5. I think 4 was when it actually felt like a whole team was working together.
Right,
Because I
right.
know 3 is the one with Seymour Hoffman, and
Okay,
J.J. Abrams directed that one.
okay.
So that's the one where Tom Cruise is running on the bridge and then the missile hits and gets slammed into the car.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
So there's that one. And I think 4 is the one with Paula Patton. And yeah, and I think that's the one where so the whole point of that movie was everybody works together as a team,
Yeah.
but they kind of get disavowed. And so they're trying to find stuff and they're trying to but all their stuff is not working.
Mm.
Everything that they have, all their tech just keeps shorting out on them. It just doesn't work. They have to like hit it and really try to make
That's
it
the one
work
where
and
his
actually
magnet things give out at one point, right? Climbing on the
yeah,
right, right,
exactly.
right.
So if I remember right, that's the one where it's like the whole team acts as a team, and I thought that was really cool because it felt like an ensemble.
Right,
Like it felt
right,
like they were all working together. And then I think 5 onward, it was just like, no, it's the Ethan Hunt show kind of thing.
right.
And I was like, oh, but I
Yeah,
kind of like what they did before. But
yeah,
those
I
were
mean
still good. 5 and on
yeah,
like
yeah,
4,
yeah, yeah.
5, 3, 4, 5, like onward were really good.
Okay, I'll ask you this crazy question.
Mhm.
You have to watch Daniel Craig's Bonds or, the Mission Impossible movies or the Fast and Furious movies or the Bourne movies. Which one
Ooh.
would you go to first?
I would probably say you have to watch the whole series all the way
I
through,
mean,
right? Everything.
yeah, I would say you're picking which one you're gonna watch the whole series of. I'm
Mhm.
not saying you have to watch them at that time, but out of those 4 series, which one would you wanna rewatch first? Or
Mm.
more likely to rewatch?
I think I would probably rewatch Mission Impossible probably first because to me, I feel like only one of them is bad.
Okay,
I only
okay.
feel like 2 is bad, and I'm like, okay, fine." But, like, certain stuff happens in it, like, they do the whole, like, face
Right,
remove and all that,
right.
that's really cool, and what's even crazier is that technically now that exists.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Insane.
Technically,
The
the
tech
tech has
that we
gotten so
yeah,
good,
yeah, yeah.
which is
Uh,
weird.
Nosfet wrote Bond or Born for them. They would watch either one of those
Mm.
first, which is interesting, but yeah.
Yeah, because like Daniel Craig's Bond is basically a reaction to all the other better spy movies that were coming out that were more gritty, that were more realistic, and Bond couldn't really go back to being what it was, like the
Right,
goofy stuff
yeah.
because uh what was it called?
The stuff with Pierce Brosnan.
And no, like Pierce Brosnan I think was getting more like it was kind of
It got
following
goofy. Yeah,
the Timothy Dalton ones, which were more
right.
gritty and more realistic.
But, like,
And
towards the
then
end of his run.
yeah, and then the last one was just like, "Oh, it's a celebration of Bond. Let's just get all goofy." And it's like,
Yeah, that's the
why
thing,
would
yeah.
you do that?
Yeah, that was unfortunate.
But the reason they did that hard pivot was because of Austin Powers. Austin Powers just blew up.
Oh, yeah, that's true, I
Just
remember that, yeah.
they were
That's
like,
why
"We
they
can't."
got rid of the gadgets too, right? Like, the
Yeah.
first Casino Royale, they were just like, we almost don't even want Q around, like, we're trying to get back to just being him as a spy, no
Yeah.
gadgets, no nothing crazy. Yeah, yeah. For myself, because I just rewatched the Fast franchise, so I could watch
It's more in
10.
mind. It's more front of mind.
Yeah, that one I probably wouldn't wanna do not because it's bad. Funny enough, I think I was telling one of my friends and one of my shout outs to my buddy Corey at work because I sat him down one morning when we were both eating breakfast at the office and gave him an entire rundown of why I was just like, if you watch all the movies back to back, the story kind of does make sense. And he was just like, what? I'm like,
It
right. So
does.
in the first movie, when they're robbing those trucks, they actually are using like grappling hooks and all that craziness. And then if you go to the fourth movie, which is supposed to be the next one in the franchise, almost chronologically, because 2 doesn't have the team and it's kind
Mhm.
of just like a separate adventure. So and 3 is a prequel that
Yeah.
takes place after 6 and or around the same time as 7. So if you go from 1 to 4, when you catch them in 4 and they're robbing gasoline trucks on a highway, it makes perfect sense that they're doing that.
Mm.
And then when you find out that what's her name dies, Dom starts investigating. That still fits because Dom would want to know what happened to the love of his life. Then you find out that Brian was working her. So Dom gets mad at Brian. We're still in the race industry. You find out that the guy that was doing it is a drug dealer. They go after that drug dealing kingpin. Brian is still in the FBI. He's been brought back in, even though he's messed up. So it all fits. It
Mhm.
actually makes sense.
Mm.
It's the end of 4 where because Vin is a criminal and they're just like they made a deal with him and Vin's like, dude, they're not going to honor that deal. I don't know what they told you, but don't I know they're not going to honor it.
Mm.
And then he gets arrested and gets charged, and they all say, even though you've done such good deeds, you still have to go to jail for the rest of your life because racing cars? Like, what? Like, if you look at the movie, I'm like, what did he do that was so wrong? Yes, he robbed a bunch of trucks on the highway, didn't kill anybody.
Mhm.
Then in the fourth movie, he's a illegal race car driver, like a illegal street
Street
racer.
Racer.
Yeah, but then he works with the FBI to catch a bad guy. So, what was his major crime that was so bad that can't be outweighed by the good he's done by getting rid of one of the biggest cartel bosses? But I digress. Then next thing you know, you're in 5,
Mhm.
where now they've broken him out and they're all fugitives, and that's when it starts to get a little silly because
Right.
now you're like, oh, okay, you guys are kind of crazy, but it's the same thing that they're dealing with drug dealers and like the vault heist at the end because they get set up by their old partner dude who gives them like an in. He's just like, oh, we needed some money, so Brian agrees to do that mission with Homeboy in 5, and
Mhm.
then that goes wrong because it has all the locations of the drop off points for the drug kingpin. So then he's just like, oh well, now I have to kill you guys, and that's where the franchise starts to get crazy because then they steal a safe and drive it through the cities and murder hundreds of people
Yeah.
for sure. There's no there's no
Like
way.
you do in a weekend, you know?
Right. And then The Rock shows up, and that's when the whole franchise starts to get all wild and nutty and
And then the anime that's Hobbs and Shaw.
right. Yeah. Because at one point, don't all the trucks link together and get like lifted up by a helicopter or something?
I guess. I haven't seen that movie. I just know the part where Idris Elba's on his motorcycle and he has to go underneath
Oh
an oil
yeah,
tanker. And
and
so instead of
slide.
just sliding underneath, he gets back and he's just riding it like this and he zooms.
It is wild, dude. It is wild.
I like even though it sounds silly and it's dumb and all that, I enjoy it for the creativity that they have that they're
For
putting
sure.
behind this stuff.
For sure.
Like and then they're like, yeah, these are real people. This is happening in this universe.
Yes.
We have to go this crazy because DC has metahumans
Right.
and Marvel doesn't even have mutants
Mutants.
yet.
No. Just
They got
mutated people.
gods, they got
Yeah.
everything else but mutants.
Yeah. True. So we're gonna do these movies where cars are extensions of our bodies, and that's just is what it is. And it's like, what? How do you justify that? But sure. All this to say, I think the franchise, going back to the original question, apologies, but I think I would watch Mission Impossible also.
Mm.
I love Bond. Daniel Craig is fantastic. I love those movies. We got to see Batista in one of his first major acting roles. He
He was
kills.
intimidating.
Yeah, he's amazing in it. Uh,
I one thing that's really important
mm,
is if you feel like you're not great acting wise, like speaking and all that kind of stuff, usually just not talking and just
yeah,
being an intimidating presence and just really
menacing as fuck.
menacing and all that kind of stuff really goes a long way. And same with Jackie Chan in is it The Foreigner? Is that the one?
Mm,
Is that the one with Pierce Brosnan?
I can look it up, but I'm not 100% sure. I'll look it up right now
I
while you're
think
talking.
it's I know the British name is a little bit more insensitive, but I think it's The Foreigner.
Oh boy,
Uh,
insensitive.
Jackie
Yeah, 2017, The Foreigner.
yeah, so that was like Jackie Chan's best acting ever,
Wait,
and his
what's
character doesn't. Hmm?
Oh, it was called the Okay. I say this purely for the purposes of information. The original novel is called The Chinaman.
Yeah.
Right.
But what's weird is that he's not even Chinese. He's more likely Vietnamese because when you watch the movie and they show his file, you see his name and it's a Vietnamese name, and then they explain why he's so good at what he does, and it's like that was the Vietnam War. That wasn't war with
Yeah,
Chinese.
so
That's
the
confusing.
plot is Nyok Min Kwan.
Yeah, there you go.
I'm so sorry, guys, by the way, if I
Middle name
butchered that.
Min. Come on.
A widowed former Vietnamese War Special Operations Force soldier runs a Chinese restaurant in London with his business partner Lam. So, and then insanity ensues, as we
Well,
all
yeah.
know.
So what happens is basically he sees his daughter off. Like his love of his life is his daughter. That's all he has in his life, and he's like,
Right.
and she goes somewhere, and as he's watching her go, and a bomb blows up,
Oh
and he's like,
no.
what the? And so he knows that that bomb going off has to deal with some kind of NRA Irish independence stuff.
IRA.
IRA, thank
Yeah,
you,
yeah,
IRA. And so he goes to see people like, "Hey, I need to know what happened," so
yeah.
because he wants to go and get revenge
Right,
and kill. And then just it unravels this whole conspiracy, and he's just wrecking people. But like
no.
you see him in pain, you see him just distraught, walking around his daughter's room and
Right,
picking up stuff and just like
right.
broken. Like he's a broken man. So
Oh,
Jackie Chan's not speaking, like he's just acting. Like you're seeing
right,
it in his face. And the thing that like one of his greatest resources is not his body that he gives to do all these stunts, it's his face, his facial expressions. Every time he gets hurt and he's like, ow, ooh, ooh, and he's like fixing his face and stuff, or he's freaked out, or he's like,
right,
he's reacting to stuff that's happening in all of his other movies.
right.
That's his expressions are like top notch. And so the fact that he does this movie, and again, he's using those expressions, and
Mm.
you're seeing him hurt, you're seeing him a broken man, you're seeing him sad and all that, like top tier. And like I
And
think he finally got to do what he said he wanted to do. He wanted to do a movie where he gets to act like De Niro.
oh,
And
wow.
I think that's the movie. I think that's one
That's
of his
him. Yeah, that's
that's
him
him
reaching
doing
for
it.
it. I mean, yeah, I haven't seen that film, but I could understand that, especially because he probably gets a lot of the practice early on in his career of having not been a fluent English speaking actor, but being put in these kind of English films, like Rush Hour, and which, by the way, is supposedly going to have a fourth film from
They've
one.
been saying that for a while, so I hope
Yeah.
it will happen.
Well, they posted up a picture of them together with their fingers up, being like, it's happening. So I don't know.
I remember I remember that there was a picture of that like a while ago, like a
There was a new one.
while.
There was a
Okay,
new
good.
Yeah. There was a
Good, good, good.
recent one, yeah, because it's Chris Tucker as he is now, like, after
Okay.
like, I just saw the film Air that he's in, and it looks like that picture was taken, like, the next day, like, he looks exactly the
Mm,
same. All
okay.
this to say, yeah, I would be I gotta watch this film because it's interesting to see Jackie Chan. Because I remember my like, my first girlfriend who's from China introducing me to Jackie Chan stuff when I was, like, 16, because
Mm.
she was just like, "Yeah, he's, like, one of the most popular action stars in China," and like giving me a whole bunch of these like burnt these
Yeah,
burnt
nice.
CDs that you had to like it was like 3 CDs to watch a movie because it would just stop and you had to switch
Oh,
because
okay. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and they were like special video files, and I was like, sure, I don't know what this is, but I'm down. Thanks for hooking me up. So but yeah. Jackie Chan, well, speaking of Jackie Chan, I mean, let's mention it now. Because we also talked about Cena, Hidden
Mhm.
Strike. The trailer dropped for Hidden Strike, which is Jackie Chan, John Cena, set in a near future world where there's like an oil war, right?
Yeah.
And
Post-apocalyptic, almost
oh,
post-apocalyptic. I guess
yeah,
it
I was gonna
is.
say, yeah, because in the trailer it doesn't look so post-apocalyptic, but it
Right.
looks like a world that's on the verge of that because of the ongoing war over oil.
Yeah, like post, like pre Mad Max, I guess.
Right. Yes. Which is you had mentioned, right? You said it feels a little Mad Maxy in
Yeah,
the trailer. Yeah.
like they're like, oh, we could do a Fury Road. Let's try that.
Right. Right.
That's what it feels like a
And
bit.
funny enough, if you see Fast 10, you also do see Cena driving in a Mad Maxian style vehicle because he's driving this like muscle car with a cage over it that has cannons on it, and it's just cannon shells. And I'm like he like pulls a lever and fires cannon shells from a car. And again, guys, this is not a movie set in a Mad Max world or in a superhero world. This is set in the real world that
Mm.
we're all supposed to be living in which he's driving a muscle car with 4 cannons on it. Sure. Or bazookas, but they don't really look like bazookas if I'm being honest. It full on look like just steel cannons. Like Transformer style arm cannons. You know, like in the Transformers they have those
Yeah,
like
yeah.
that's how it looked.
Forearms on their
Yeah.
forearms and stuff.
Yes. It looked like that on a John Cena was driving a Transformer is what that
Okay.
was essentially. Um but yeah, Hidden Strike. The trailer dropped. What did you think? Because I know I think you sent it to me first.
No, I think you sent it to me first.
Oh, did I send that one for once?
Yeah,
I
you sent
mean,
that first.
you usually send them. That's why I
No,
assumed.
that one I like no one, not even people that I know that would send that stuff didn't
Hadn't
get
seen it
that.
yet. Oh, I'm proud. Oh, look at me. Look at me. That's my shoulder.
But it looks interesting. It
It
looks
looks yeah.
silly. It looks fun. It looks silly.
When was the
They
last
fight some ninjas and
right?
he knocks a ninja off and he's like, "Oh, sorry." He does the
Yeah.
typical Jackie Chan thing. "Oh, sorry. I want no trouble."
When was the last time we saw a Jackie Chan film like one of these like American slash
I don't know. This one doesn't seem like
Chinese?
it's American. It seems more
I mean,
like
only because it has Cena, but yeah, true, right? Cena speaks fluent Mandarin, right? And that's like
yeah,
a big thing. Like he's actually a name in the Chinese market. Like he's a good
yeah.
name to have attached to
Not an easy
project.
language to learn.
I know, I would, but he speaks it like fluently, right?
Mhm. He's
What?
getting from what I heard, he's getting pretty good. Like at first when he was speaking, it was very stilted, and then now
Okay.
it's more flowing and everything like that.
I'm just in awe of anyone who learns Mandarin. That's one of those ones that's just like,
Well, he knew that the WWE wanted to go into China from like when he
right,
was still like big on the company. So he was like,
right.
all right, that's what I'm doing. That's what I'm doing. I got to occupy
That's
his brain.
that's wild. That's wild.
Yeah,
This man just
a
decided
lot
to do
of
this.
like surprising thing about wrestlers that they have really good memory.
Yeah, I mean,
A
half of
lot of
their
them,
jobs is not that I'm allowed to say it, but memorization of performing their
yeah, yeah, yeah. Like they
choreographed fight.
have
I don't
really
want
good
any
memory.
people
Like
get
a
mad
lot
at
of
you when
them, like there's like a channel on YouTube where they do interviews with like older wrestlers, and then they
Mhm.
say, okay, we're gonna talk about this era between this like maybe 1992 to 1996,
Okay.
and this match. What do you remember? And they blah, 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 break down everything. Oh, this
Oh
happened,
god,
and I went over here, and then we went there. Like they are they still have everything up there. It's crazy.
that's impressive. All right. So, I mean, we kind of already did it, the view the right thing, but I wanted to talk about a few other view the right things.
Hmm.
Specifically, I feel like we should talk about yours. Speaking of movies that are have international appeal, this one a remake of a classic Disney film. Again, also speaking of the '90s, because you just talked about '92 to '96. This film, the original, comes out in '94, '95. What year is the original?
Earlier, I'm
Little
assuming earlier
Mermaid.
than that.
Little Mermaid. Little Mermaid comes out in
1989.
no,
Yeah, because that was the start of the Disney Renaissance.
no
So
way. The
yeah,
Little
so
Mermaid
Disney
came out in 1989.
yeah, so Disney's
Oh, I was thinking of
animation
the cartoon because the cartoon's 92 to 94. My
yeah,
God, 89.
89. Disney's film animation section was like in the toilet, and this is like them making a big push, and then that's there was this, then I think Beauty and the Beast, et cetera, and just kept going, going, going,
Right.
going.
Dude, I was convinced it came out later than that. Okay, so yeah, Little Mermaid 1989. We get the remake 2023. People are saying that it's a shot for shot remake, which I found interesting. What are your thoughts, man? Hit me.
For the most part, it's a shot for shot. I mean, it's not gonna be 100%
Right.
perfect. I thought it
Right.
was okay.
Okay.
Definitely something you can bring your kids to and enjoy and watch and stuff. Um, Haley Bailey's am I saying that her name right? Hallie?
Yeah,
Hallie?
Halle
Haley?
Bailey. Yeah.
Halle Bailey's version of Part of Your World was top notch, was
Yeah.
awesome,
Okay.
was amazing, was like, the little affectation she does, but it was really, really good. You're just like I wanted to stand up and like clap for her. I was like, "Yes, you did it, man. You nailed it." Like you can't get mad at again.
Yeah.
I think something I brought up in this show and talked with my friends as well is that I don't see why people would be mad that she's black. I mean, they got an actress that can actually sing.
Yeah.
And the whole point of
Great
Ariel is
range.
that she can sing. That's
Right.
it. So it
Right.
doesn't matter what color she is, as long as the actress and the person that's there can sing, and she can sing,
Yeah.
and she like knocks it out of the park. So I thought it was pretty cool. Some oddball. Prince Eric gets his own song, and when I was listening to the song, it really sounded like a 1980s like British pop ballad kind of thing.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Like I don't think it's exactly that, but like the
Okay.
vibe I was getting, the feel I was getting, I was like, "Oh, I'm listening to like um what was it? The guys that sing Everybody Wants to Rule the World." Like, like you're hearing like a
Oh,
British guy sing,
like Eurythmics and
not Eurythmics, but like, like maybe like ABC, um
okay.
and other like Duran, like that kind of thing.
Oh,
Like,
yes, yes, yeah, yeah. Okay, okay.
like a front man clearly sounds British singing a song, that kind of thing.
That's funny. Okay.
Um, the the way this version works, I'm not gonna do the plot because everyone
No, yeah,
kind of
yeah.
knows it. But in
No
this
spoilers
version,
with this one. We should all know what the damn story is. It's
but I think if I remember right, a friend of mine told me that the original movie, the way the Ariel's dress is designed and Prince Eric the way they look,
right.
it took place in I Denmark? I can't like
Right. I've
each
I've heard yeah,
like something like that, but in this one, it takes place in the Caribbean.
which makes
Like,
sense.
which is very it's interesting and also very, like, a little weird. So, like, I'm watching it, and then there's, like, a guy that catches Ariel in his fishing net when she becomes human, and he's
Right.
like, "Oh," and he's speaking in, like, a Caribbean accent,
Oh, patois. Okay.
and I'm just giggling to myself. I'm like, "Oh my god," it's like an uncle
Yeah.
or a grandfather, like, "Oh, good child, let me go get you something to cover your
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah,
then
yeah.
he brings him back she brings her back to the castle, or at least the kingdom,
Right.
and there's another, like, West Indian woman that's part of the castle, and she's speaking, and I'm just like, "It's
That's
like my
so
auntie or
cool.
grandma."
Yeah.
So it's just
Yeah.
it's this weird, like, this weird other dynamic to it,
No, it's
like,
cool.
not weird, but, like, it's just, like, something you're not
New.
expecting.
Yeah, new dynamic to it.
Yeah.
It adds a layer, a different layer from the original film, and also makes it make a little more sense because, for example, why was this crab speaking with an accent
Yeah,
if
with a
it's in the
Jamaican
waters
accent.
of Denmark? The original one, you're
Well,
just like,
I
what
guess
was
it
the
feels like the only reason they do that is so that "Kiss the Girl" makes sense,
yeah,
and, well, at least, like, the way that the music sounds, and the same with,
right,
"Under the Sea" makes more sense
right.
because it has, like, a more Caribbean sounding to it.
Yeah, yeah. Like and you know what? I like that someone thought of that.
Mm,
Because when you're like, "Oh, we're gonna make a live action remake," you could be like, "Cool, let's just do everything the exact same
yeah,
way." And then you're just like, "Hey, what let's adjust this one little thing that barely changes the story." To be honest, doesn't even change the story. It changes the accents of people who are in the story. That's
mhm.
it. The story itself doesn't change. It doesn't have any other significant adaptation to it. This is just the way it is. And
And then you have, like, nicer coastlines to look at and stuff like
true,
that,
beautiful beaches, I'm
um,
sure.
and then they also kind of add extra backstory to certain things, like, they actually flat out say that the humans killed Ariel's and her sister's mom,
Oh wow, okay.
and that's why King
Triton.
Triton is so protective
Right,
and, like,
right.
don't deal with the humans, F them.
Oh, wow, okay.
So there's that. Ursula and King Triton are actually siblings,
Oh!
so
Do we
she
do
became
we
the
ever find
outcast.
do we ever find that out in the animated world?
I don't think I
Okay.
I don't know.
Okay.
I've only really watched the first movie when I was a kid, and I don't
Right.
remember that ever really coming up. Um, Ariel has more of a reason to go to the Earth world. She wants to. She feels like the humans have stuff that they can learn from, because that's why she's like collecting all their things. She's like, "Oh, this is so interesting. This, oh, they must be like," and then like it's not just like, "Oh my god, I love a boy and I want to go up there." Like it's more. It feels like there's way more to it than that. Like she's like, I feel like the humans have stuff that they could teach us, and we can teach them. Like we should
Hmm.
be like working
Collaborating.
together. And she even says, "Mom said that." And she's like, "Yeah, well, mom's not here. Like mom,
Yeah.
I'm like, "Woo," you know.
Yeah, like, look what it got us when mom tried. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
That usual fear
so
thing.
there's that. Her sisters have more, not more agency, but you they talk. The sisters are more of a I wouldn't
They're
say characters, but you see them more. They have more lines
yeah, yeah,
comparatively
yeah.
from the first movie.
They're more fleshed out. They're more thought of
Yeah,
than background.
yeah,
I
exactly. Not
hear that, Simone, Ashley, I think is her name, the Indian Ocean daughter.
oh yeah,
I hear she looks fantastic in the film.
she does.
All I've heard from people is, Haley's voice is phenomenal.
hmm
Homeboy actually looks like Eric.
Yep.
Um, Ursula's makeup sucked, and Simone looked banging, and I was like,
Yeah,
okay, that's a vibe. I guess I'll
and
go see
then
this movie.
even Prince Eric's mom
Yeah.
is like, she's like a black queen.
Oh, cool.
So
All right.
and then the way they kind of work that around is that Prince Eric isn't really related. They adopted him. His like he was
Oh.
on a ship that crashed, and they saved him, and they're like, you know what? Let's adopt him and make him a prince. And so
Oh.
there's like, so his story is that he wants to trade with other countries and go
Right.
on ships and stuff like that, and make sure that make trade partners so that their island can flourish, because if they're just
Right.
isolated, then they won't be able to do anything.
Yeah. Yeah.
And she's like, no, like you die, like like
Your
we found
parents.
you on
Yeah.
a train wreck, sorry, a
Shipwreck.
shipwreck.
Yeah.
You're shipwrecked as a baby, like, so we took you in and we wanted to make sure that you're safe. So her and him and Ariel have like a similar thing where their
Yeah.
parents don't want them to leave the castle,
Right.
don't want them to leave their kingdom, kind of thing.
Huh.
So
Man, they
it's a
really
little.
these are all subtle changes that, again, really add to the story based on what you're
Mhm.
telling me. Because this
Yeah.
is yeah.
And but there's there's always gonna be some negative stuff. Like for me, Prince Eric had like a little jade mermaid, and he's like, "Oh, that's my little mermaid." You said the name of the movie in the movie. Oh my god,
These
you did it!
these
Like,
yeah.
there's that silliness.
That's funny.
What else was there? There's a song in there. So people are kind of annoyed that they took out the song Les Poissons. I don't know if you remember that song.
Oh, from the French chef?
The French chef, right.
Right, yeah.
So they
Wait,
took out that song and they added like 2 other songs, 3
okay.
other songs. 3
Oh,
other songs
wow.
they added
Okay.
for the movie. So
Why'd they
one
take
there's a
that one out? Is there, like, a reason, or
okay, so I mean,
I don't remember what the
nowadays we're
song's called.
trying to do better. We're trying to
Right,
be
right,
better. We're trying to be a little bit more less assholey, more, a little more sensitive and more
right.
okay with other people. So there's a line in that song that says, les poissons, he, ho, ho, ho."
What?
So it's like it's like, okay, we're gonna market this movie to the French in France, and they're like,
Oh, the accent is offensive. I mean,
and there's a lot of there's like a lot of like he's not
okay,
really
okay,
saying anything in
sure, sure.
French.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, okay. I didn't really I don't
You
remember
haven't
that
heard that
song.
song in a long time?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, that's not
Okay,
one of the
like
main that's not a side A for the Little Mermaid
it's a
soundtrack.
silly song. It's a
Yeah,
silly, like, I
exactly.
remember it because it's
Yeah,
just
yeah.
because the other part of that song is him cooking fish,
Right.
and he's like, "I rip out their spines and I chop off their
Oh
head."
my god. Okay, I can see why
Exactly,
we
and if you rewatch that scene, it's Sebastian watching his people getting murdered for food, and he's just like, "Oh my god!" And
yeah,
then in the
okay.
midst of that song, when
Yeah,
there's a big chase scene, they start playing the can song. Da, 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 da,
yeah,
da. So I mean, it's not a. I wouldn't say it's a very culturally sensitive song. So
hilarious.
they add in 3 songs. One's a Prince Eric song,
Right.
where he's like, Ariel saves them and she's singing to him, and
Yeah.
he's kind of coming to, and barely sees her. So he's like, I want to meet this girl again. Like it's like his want song.
Right.
And there's that. There is a song where Ariel is experiencing the human world for the first time. So it's like the song's kind of going on in her head.
Yeah.
And she's like, oh, what's this? What's that? So instead of having Prince Eric kind of showing her around for some random reason in the original movie, it's like her kind of experiencing everything before she really gets to Prince Eric. So it's her song there. And then the last one is called Scuttlebutt, which is sung by it's rapped by Aquafina, who's playing Scuttle, right? Yeah. The bird is named Scuttle, if I remember right.
Yeah. I forgot about Scuttle. The seagull.
The seagull. So this time it's not a seagull, it's a different bird. But the reason they changed it to a different bird is because that bird actually swoops into the water to catch fish. So it would make more sense if this bird is underwater talking to Ariel and interacting with them in the water.
Right.
So seagulls don't really do that. So that was like something more realistic they switched.
Okay.
And so this song comes in where Ursula comes up to the human world using Ariel's voice and like changed her body completely to marry the prince so that she could renege on her contract with Ariel, basically.
Well, and wait, super quick. In the original, when she does that, she looks like a darker haired version of Ariel. In this version,
I guess so, yeah.
Yeah. Well,
no,
yeah, cool.
No, in this version, darker haired, it's like a British girl playing her.
Oh, gotcha.
British white girl playing her.
Right. Okay, cool.
And so Scuttlebutt is it's interesting and weird because it's Lin-Manuel Miranda like doing his rap thing.
Okay.
So I was watching a video and they said a lot of people don't like his writing style in the sense of like, oh, they don't mind his songs, but they get annoyed when he does rapping because it's always the same thing. It's always the same cadence for everything that he's done, and then a fast moment, and then a fast just him rapping fast.
Right.
So this one is really weird because it's basically Scuttle telling Ariel and Sebastian that, oh, Ursula's here, but she doesn't look like Ursula. And then she managed to get the prince to marry her, and we gotta like get on it, and so it's that's the main point of that song. She's just giving them information, but I mean, I know it sounds. I mean, it's for a kids movie, so I'm not hating on it as hard as everybody else is hating on it.
Also, like people, that's his style, and it is what it is.
It's a kids movie, and like it's fine. It gives you the information you need. It's silly. I don't mind it. It's just like, okay, like out of nowhere, everyone's singing, and then wham. And it was done well, but it was just like really weird. Like it's just like,
so people should go see it.
Huh?
People should go see The Little Mermaid.
I think so. The only one thing I thought would have been pretty funny is when Ursula comes in as her other form and she turns around to the camera. I thought it would have been pretty cool if it was Ariana Grande.
Oh,
like it turns out it's like evil Ariana Grande.
Oh, that would be pretty cool because Ariana Grande can actually also sing.
Yeah.
So instead of having to do the thing where
they're just
Ali's
using
voice, they just use Ariana Grande's voice.
Yeah, but it wouldn't be the same voice, so it wouldn't make sense. But you would have two people, like, I don't know, maybe they could have done a song where they sing off against each other.
Yeah,
or something.
Yeah.
But that was just stupid wishful thinking in my head.
I mean, dope idea though. Not a bad idea. Not a bad idea at all. Disney.
I like, if you have little kids, I would definitely say go see it. And I thought it was pretty fun, and you kind of like, how do I put it? Like, I thought it was good, and you kind of feel like, oh, you get King Triton's side and stuff like that.
Yeah, you get more.
Yeah,
but it's not that much longer.
It is an hour. Oh no, it is 2 hours and 15 minutes.
Oh,
I was shocked. The original movie was an hour and 23 minutes.
Right. Okay, so it's quite a bit longer. Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I mean, it sounds like it was worth it though.
I didn't look at my watch though, so that's
exactly
good. That's a good sign.
And I find it interesting because you hear about all the live action Disney movies, and I I don't know. I hear some people saying Beauty and the Beast is great. Hear some people saying they hated it. I hear some
Yeah.
people saying Lion King is fantastic. Hear some people saying we didn't need it.
Yeah.
Every single one, there's a big split. This is
Mhm.
the first one where the split was the original reaction by certain people, but
Mhm.
universally the reaction has been from everyone I know who loves the original, who now saw this one, is just like, I love it.
Mm.
I thought it was great. I've heard a few people mention the Eric song being really good, like a good addition
Mm.
and stuff like that. So the only thing, like I was mentioning before, the makeup, people were really upset about. There's maybe a small loud minority of people who are upset about Ursula's makeup
Mhm.
because, for those of you who don't know, it's based off of drag queen Divine, and then they were saying that the person who did the makeup didn't do a good job honoring the original aesthetic, but whatever.
Mm.
And
Yeah.
everyone's gonna be pick on something.
Mhm.
So, all right, man, that's dope. I mean, yeah, I'm gonna check it out. It's one of those movies that I do kind of want to see on the big screen,
Mhm.
but yeah. I'm seeing Spider-Man next week, so I'll try and fit this in too. Then some Disney and Sony getting my money somehow, even with the writer's strike. Uh, but yeah, I mean, I have two shows that I wanted to talk about. One show I wanted to tell people about was Primo. If people
Mhm.
haven't seen it, I don't know where you can watch it legitimately yet, which I feel like is an unfair thing to even tell you about the show. But I gotta say, it's most likely going to end up being on Prime because it's an Amazon Freevee series, and
Oh, okay.
Amazon Freevee is Amazon's free ad-supported TV streaming in the States.
Mm.
So the show it has commercials and stuff in the original version.
So we're back to cable.
It's Jaws. The thing that pisses me off when people say fast TV, like free ad-supported television,
Mhm.
I always look at them. I mean, so you mean TV? That's
Yeah.
TV. It's just not through the airwaves or through a cable. It's through the internet. But you're describing television. All it is. It's always been free ad-supported content. And back then, I didn't need an internet. I just needed a TV. Now
Yeah.
I have to pay for the internet. So it's not really free, is it? You jackasses. Anyways, so I've noticed two other freebie shows pop up on Prime here in Canada. So I'm hoping that that's what's going to happen with this show.
Okay.
The show's super interesting. I like to say it's the Wonder Years meets Inside Out. It's a story of a young man. He's about 16. I think he's a junior in high school in a predominantly Mexican American area, or
Mhm.
maybe it's just because it's his family. He's with his mother and his five uncles, and
Okay.
his
Damn.
yeah. And the reason I said it's like Inside Out is just
I feel sorry for his dad. He
well, the
probably
dad's
got beaten
yeah.
up trying to get with the
Yeah,
mom
yeah,
in the first place.
the dad's probably dead. That's the reason we don't see the dad is the five brothers have killed him. But yeah, so you have the five brothers. The mom is fantastic. Fantastic. She's played by Christina Vidal, who was her first role was Life with Mikey with Michael J. Fox back in the day. The last
Okay.
show I saw her on was with Will Sasso, where she plays his wife. Which was a sitcom from a couple years ago. In any case, she's the mom on this one. She does a fantastic job. She's like the perfect balance of like being a caring mother, but also being like the sister to these five psychotic men, and like balancing all the insanity in the house.
Mhm.
The five brothers, the archetypes for the brothers are a gardener, ex-military, a hippie, a banker, and the rascallion, the rogue, the
Mm.
Rolly, who like they have a wheel on the fridge, and it's the bailout Rolly wheel.
Oh,
So they
no.
rotate it every time. So like Mike bailed him out last time, so next time it's Ryan, and it's stuff like that. And then one of the other things I found interesting about the show, no white characters. It's they're Mexican American. The
Mhm.
best friend is Mexican American. His other best friend in his group is Filipino, and the girl he has a crush on is black.
Oh,
And it's 6 episodes, and I don't think I saw a white person. Now that I think about it,
that's interesting.
oh, the police officer when the brother got arrested.
But is that a reoccurring character?
No,
Mm,
no reoccurring characters were white. Everyone was a person of color. The story is all just about the nephew trying to navigate the things that he's learning from his uncle, and his
mm.
mom constantly having to be like, "Don't listen to your uncles; they're idiots," which was pretty funny. And it's fun storytelling, fun adventures. It really does have that kind of old fashioned Wonder Years thing.
Mm.
He obviously has a crush on the girl next door, who's played by the black girl. Who's the black girl? um and like it's like 6 episodes of them getting closer and closer and the
Okay.
best friends. But one of the things I liked, because I told my cousin in England about the show, and he's just like, did they do that generic thing of black people and Mexicans not getting along? And I was like, no, they actually have a great relationship. The black family, is the dad is military, so they were living in Germany.
Hmm.
They were stationed in Germany for like a couple years, and when they came over, they ended up in, I don't even remember what town they're in.
Mm.
And it's just them living. Like, the only reason the dad doesn't like him is because at one point he's on speakerphone talking to the daughter, and the daughter is telling him about how the dad doesn't want me to hang out with certain kids at school because they butt chug. And he's like, what's and he goes, "What's butt chugging?" And she's just like, "It's exactly what you think it is." And then he sarcastically says, "Don't you miss the days where people did heroin and crack cocaine?" But the dad walks into the room just as he says that, and the
Uh,
dad's like, "Who is this boy talking about doing drugs in my house?" And then so that's why the dad doesn't like him.
right.
But it's so fun because it's such a like when you're watching the show, you realize, like, from the dad's perspective, grant 100% accurate to not trust this kid who's out loud saying whatever happened to the good old days of heroin and crack cocaine. But at the
Right.
same time, he like, then the character Rafa, who's the main character, is working his way into the good graces of the family.
Right.
um so yeah, so a lot of fun stuff in that show. I really did enjoy it, and
That's
I
good.
highly recommend it. Another show that I've been watching recently that I wanted to recommend to people, that weirdly, if I hadn't watched one of the episodes today, I probably wouldn't have recommended it. But this
Mm.
last episode actually got me back in. The show Class of '09. So
Oh, I've been seeing ads for that a lot.
yeah, Class of '09 stars Brian Tyree Henry, Kate Mara, Sepide Moafi, and Brian J. Smith. Also, Briones, Filipino actor that I've seen in a whole bunch of stuff for a long time. And it's a TV show set in 3 time periods. The Class of '09, so they're when they start in the FBI, the 2023 era, and then
Mhm.
2034 set in the future. It's about the 4 main characters, and Brian Tyree is like one of the main characters. I would say he's, if anything, him and Kate Mara are the 2 main characters, and it's about them working in a world where the FBI by 2034 is essentially run by an AI,
Oh.
and it's all the things.
That
Yeah,
part I didn't get from the
I
trailers.
know,
Holy
I
crap.
know. So in '09 is them in their first year being trained as agents and all the things they go through.
Mhm.
2023 is them, the character played by Sapide Moafi. Her
Mm.
character is Nazari. She's like into computers, and she is designing. She's trying to figure out a way that you can cross reference all the information that the FBI has gathered when they're investigating all at once. Because
Mm.
they keep giving examples of how the FBI actually had all the information that would have solved the case, but the information was in multiple different places. And because no one was communicating, they didn't solve case X and case Y. So she's
Right.
trying to create a centralized system to do it, and she starts to do it, and it actually does start to kind of work. But in true fashion, people start going, well, we need to control this woman, this Middle Eastern woman who
Right.
happens to also be queer, shouldn't be in charge of this tech. So they start trying to like push her out. And so the story is really interesting. Like, and I would say the '09 part so far has been some of the most interesting stuff for me,
Mhm.
but it also feels a little too much like the show Quantico.
Oh.
because it's essentially them at Quantico. So it's
Right.
gonna feel like the show because it's the exact same story of like, even Quantico had like the Middle Eastern twins that you
Mhm.
find out were playing like one person, and to the point where even Brian J. Smith was on Quantico. He's one of the guys on Quantico. So I see him and I'm like, good God, you're doing this again. So the '09 stuff is a little lacking, a little slower because it's kind of like them just trying to figure out their stuff. But I really do like the 2023 stuff and the 2034 stuff where essentially an AI is running the government, not running the government, but the AI has turned into like Minority Report.
Right.
And the class of '09, everyone except for one of the agents is trying to fix or figure out the system because it's the Minority Report. As you know, much like Minority Report, they're now just arresting people beforehand.
Right.
Um,
Oh, okay.
yeah, there's one scene where Kate Merrick's character and her character and Nazari's character, Kate Mara's character is called Poet because her last name is Poet. So
Mm.
Poet and Nazari are driving in a car. They're on the road. It's in the future, and Nazari's character is suspicious of the technology and the big bad AI. So she actually has a device on her that can kind of tell when when electronics around her are communicating. And at one point
Right.
while she's driving, they get to a checkpoint and she tells Poet, "Hey, your car just sent a bunch of information to the system." She's like, "What did it say?" It said it sent your name, my name, the fact that you have your gun, the model of the car, where we're coming from, where we're going, and all this stuff. And Poet goes, "Why is it doing that? It's only supposed to do that if you're doing something suspicious or if you're known criminals with like suspicious activity." And she's just like, "You are doing something suspicious. You're driving because in the future, all the cars drive on a system. It's like iRobot.
Oh,
You don't actually steer the cars, but you
right.
can choose to steer the cars, much like iRobot. It's not that weird. Like someone wants to drive, they want to drive.
Mhm.
So once they keep driving, the next checkpoint it shuts down. It like stops her and tells her your car has been taken over by blah 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 system. You will be pulling you over at the next checkpoint. Please put your weapon in the glove compartment and wait for further instructions." And then the car just drives to the checkpoint. And when the cops come over to her, she's just like, "Yes, officers, is there a problem?" And the cop's just like, "Oh, well, why are you driving?" And you see Nazari's character like, "Yeah, bitch, I told you." And it's it's like in the future, you driving your own car is cause for suspicion, and that I thought was a really,
Yeah.
really interesting scene. So yeah, this last episode actually kind of brought me back in because until this episode I was kind of like, this is cool, but it feels like Quantico meets Minority Report, and then I
Mhm.
kind of just have some weird terrorist story in the middle. But now that they're trying to really blend everything together, it's more coherent, and I'm liking it. So
Okay.
yeah, I'm telling I think I will actually recommend it. If you again, like I said, if you had asked me earlier today, I would have been like, sure. But now I'm like, this isn't so bad.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah. And then I would tell people if you haven't had a chance, go through Succession. I
Mm.
didn't love the finale, and I've had some very interesting conversations with friends. Some loved it, some didn't love it. I'm on the side of not loving it. I didn't necessarily love the direction they took with it, but
Mm.
I did like all 4 seasons.
That's
And
good.
all the actors
Definitely
really
something I
brought
wanna
their A
watch.
game.
Definitely
Yeah,
something I wanna
every
watch.
actor brought every actor brought their A game. No one left it on the sidelines. They all it was like an NBA final every single season. They're all on the court. So,
Mm.
yeah, I would say check it out. Homie,
Mm.
I think we have some news for people.
We do.
Dun, 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 dun. I don't even remember the theme anymore. Oh yeah,
Ba-da-da-dun-dun-dun.
yeah.
Bow.
Geek news and rumors. First little piece of rumor. These are all the first few ones are all rumors that I saw recently. Ironheart series rumored to focus on Magic versus Tech. I know a lot of people were wondering what the Ironheart series is going to be about. Magic versus Tech makes sense. I mean, that was kind of one of the major stories for Tony and Iron Man in the comic books. Always,
Mhm.
one of his biggest villains in the third movie. They kind of did a fake version of it, but what's his name?
Mandarin.
Mandarin. right? Which was in and of itself probably a racist name, especially his depiction back in the day. But yeah, so the
That's why they
Mandarin.
made him green.
Yeah,
They're like,
it's messy, guys. It's messy. But yeah, so I mean, I don't expect the Mandarin to be an Ironheart. If anything, I think it's the Hood that's going to be in, and the Hood is like the son of some other supervillain from way back in the day. So it's going to be the Hood versus Ironheart. And in the comic books, the Hood does dabble in quite a bit of magic and often doesn't even know how to control it. So should be an interesting series. Another rumor that I saw. Oh man, I always say his name wrong. Tamora. Did I say it right? Tamora Morrison. He plays Boba Fett on the Boba Fett series.
Oh, okay.
And does the voice of like all the clones and was the original Jango Fett in the prequel series. He's returning to play Rex in the Ahsoka series, supposedly.
Oh, cool.
Another rumor. So we'll see if that pans out. Fantastic Four casting rumor. This is one that's been out for a bit, but I still felt like we should mention it. People are saying that it's looking likely to be Adam Driver as Mr. Fantastic's Reed Richards, Margot Robbie as the Invisible Woman Sue Storm, Paul Mescal as the Human Torch Johnny Storm, and Daveed Diggs, who was just he plays Sebastian in The Little Mermaid. He's going to be potentially the Thing, Mr. Ben Grimm.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, I mean, that one is really good. And I know there's quite a few people who are actually really excited about him doing it, specifically because Ben Grimm is a Jewish character in the comic books. And that's something that's not often drawn any attention to, but Daveed Diggs
or at least
Jewish.
In the live action. I'm assuming it's not really brought up in the live action, and maybe the cartoon, the 90s cartoon.
I don't remember. I mean, they barely bring it up in the comic book, if I'm being honest.
I think they don't, it's not a big thing they bring up, but like whenever there's like a holiday, like Ben's there.
Yes, that's
like
fair.
And everyone's like, wait a minute. Right,
And Daveed Diggs is Jewish. So people were really excited because they're just like, hey, a Jewish actor playing the character would be really cool. So I mean, hey, fingers crossed if that goes through. And then this is something that I saw that I wanted to mention to people also. And let me click on the link because there's a whole thing to read. Registration for Nintendo Live 2023 is now open. If you're interested in attending Nintendo's live event in Seattle in September, you can register for a chance to get free tickets to a random selected drawing. You can register as an individual or a group for any of the 4 days the event will take place. Just make sure you do this within the next month. As registration closes on June 22nd. So if you guys just if you just look up Nintendo of America, or if you just go to or search Nintendo Live, you'll get the information for that, and you can enter for a chance to win. Now, I don't know necessarily anyone on the East Coast who might love to travel all the way to Seattle because it might be a little bit more expensive. And I don't think they're covering accommodations for the event. I think you're just getting a ticket to the live event itself. But if you're on the West Coast, shout out to the Vancouver peeps, you're relatively closer, and this might be something you want to check out. So shout out to y'all. We already mentioned Hinge Strike trailer. So these are trailers that you guys can check out that are out right now. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem dropped another official trailer.
I'm always super confused because it's always like, oh, here's the teaser trailer, and like, this seems like a regular trailer, and then here's the official trailer, and there's more stuff in there, and it's more fleshed out about what's going on in the movie.
Almost too much sometimes now too. Like, I actually like that the teaser trailers don't tell me the whole story, but then the actual quote unquote trailers tell you way too much. I'm actually starting to think I should only watch teaser trailers now.
Only watch teaser, especially this one. Only watch the teaser.
Right. Trailers. Yeah. So I didn't watch this one specifically because I was a little worried that they were going to spoil too much.
I did like, there was a good joke in there where Splinter's played by Jackie Chan.
Right.
And he's talking to them about like, hey, where'd you guys go? You're supposed to be back earlier today. And they're like, oh no, we're just out, running errands. No, don't worry about it. And then Leo like freaks out and he's like, he can't lie to his dad. So he's like, oh, we were supposed to do this. And then Mike says, oh, I can't believe you ratted us out, Leo. And then Splinter like goes into dad and was like, hey, don't use those words. And
Yeah.
like, yeah, man, we're in 2023, man. Be show some sensitivity. He's like, oh, I'm sorry, guys. And I'm
That's
like,
so
oh,
good.
that's so true.
That's so good. That is so good. That's pretty funny.
So it's pretty good. Like it's pretty interesting. And I will say this: the main villain is not Shredder, and I'll just leave it at that.
Oh, okay. That's
It's
that
a
that's some
different
big
it's a
news for
different
me.
storyline. I guess it's them being pre-Shredder
See that
coming into
era?
the picture. Yeah, so
Right.
that's another thing altogether.
Interesting. Okay.
Mhm.
I'm here for it. I'll check it out. Another one that we posted official trailer for Justified City Primeval.
Yeah,
Oh, I didn't realize that was the title.
yeah.
So
So
this is
this is
yeah. I'll
mhm.
let you go. No, by all means.
So basically it's Timothy Oliphant plays a US Marshal named Raylan Givens. This is after everything that's happened in the show Justified. So I guess it's like a mini series, I guess, like a little short kind of thing, where he's supposed to be going on a trip with his daughter to Miami.
Mhm.
So if you've ever seen the show Justified, he ended up in Miami at the beginning of the show. That's
Yeah.
where he was working as a U.S. Marshal, and then because he shot someone out in public,
Yeah. Yeah.
and people were like he didn't
Insane.
have a gun on him or something like that, or he did have
Yeah.
a gun on him, but he hadn't drawn it. They kind of have to hide him, so they send him back to his hometown of was it Kentucky?
Uh.
Oh, I forgot
Yeah.
where,
I
but
don't remember.
it's in the
Yeah.
South. He goes back to the South where his hometown is, and he doesn't want to go there. He really doesn't want to go back
I know.
home.
I know he's near the. At one point, he in one of the seasons he's dealing with the KC
Dixie
mob.
Mafia.
Yeah, mafia. So he is in that area of like Kansas City mob and mafia and that stuff. So wherever that area is. But yeah.
Yeah, so he gets pulled in for some reason to Detroit. So this whole series takes place in Detroit, and he's like he tries to kind of get out. He's like, "Oh, I was gonna go to Miami with my daughter, and I'm getting pulled in." And it's like this is not really, like you can't really ask your way out of this.
Yeah.
This is what's up.
Yeah.
So something else probably happened where he wasn't supposed to do something he did, and he gets brought into Detroit.
Oh boy.
And so there's some kind of like mm, mob enforcer or something that's going around, and for some reason they can't capture him or whatever.
Yeah.
And so he has to kind of use his skills and help out. So uh I saw maybe I think 3 seasons of Justified. I really liked that show. It was one of
Oh
my
yeah.
favorite
Great
shows when it
show.
was coming out.
Great show.
And Walter Goggins is really, really
Oh,
good in it.
dude,
But he's
he's
not in this
insane.
he's not in this. It's more
Yeah.
about Rayland and new adventure and stuff like that.
Well, it's
So
funny
it
you
looks
mentioned Walter because I was going to say I'll let you finish, but I'll say right after.
yeah, so it looks pretty interesting. So it just takes place in Detroit. And just more Justified, if
Yeah.
anything.
I'm down for it. Walter Goggins, though, working on the Righteous Gemstones, which also
Mm,
just dropped a trailer. The new Max, now a Max series, not
mhm.
HBO Max, but Max. Follow them on Instagram at Stream on Max. Worst handle ever. But yeah, the Righteous Gemstones is coming back. People are really excited about it. If you haven't seen that show, it's about like a super church and the children of the like father who's played by John Candy taking over the family business and trying to step into the big shoes that he's leaving behind as he decides to take some time away from the being the main preacher for the flock, the main shepherd for the flock, as some might say. So
Mm.
that show looks like it's really cool. And Walter Goggins plays the brother-in-law of John. Did I say John Candy? John Goodman. Apologies. I just
Oh,
realized I
okay,
said John
okay.
Candy. John Goodman's character. Yeah, yeah. We also have the final season of Jack Ryan on Prime that dropped a new trailer.
Oh,
Shout outs to my buddy who explained to me why this version of Jack Ryan is completely um, ideologically incorrect because the
ooh.
character is an analyst and shouldn't be in the field as much as he is. But
I thought the reason that he's in the field because there's nobody else.
well, I've watched the show and
Mhm.
it really is that he ends up in the field a lot more than he should be for someone that's not supposed to be there. Because my understanding from what my friend told me is the original character has no actual training
Right.
and is an analyst. And in the show, he definitely has training. Like it seems like he's
Well,
an ex-Navy SEAL. So
yeah, because I think in the show, I thought in the show he was trained in the sense of like he did a tour and then he became an analyst
yeah,
and
yeah,
then he
that's
gets
definitely the
dragged
vibe.
back in.
Yeah, that's definitely the vibe. He is
Yeah.
full on trained military, like yeah, yeah, yeah. And then the last trailer. Well, I think we have two more trailers that we want to mention for people to check out. Oh no, just one. Black Mirror season 6 trailer, which officially dropped, and I think that one even has the titles for the different episodes in the season,
Yes. Yes,
which
it
the teaser
does.
did not. Yeah, so if you guys want to see those, a lot of great people. Aaron Paul. Oh no, I forgot her name. The sister from uh
Alexis?
Alexis, yeah, but what's the actress's name?
I
Uh,
forgot.
Kevin Can Go Fuck Himself. She just starred on that. There's so many things that she's done. I'm so sorry. I feel bad that I don't remember from Schitt's Creek. Um,
Annie Murphy.
Annie Murphy. Apologies, Annie Murphy. I should know your name. You have done some fantastic work. Apologies again. But yeah, I like the trailer for her episode, or at least the segment of the trailer for her episode was my favorite because
Mm,
it almost feels like something that we have been talking about with the writer's strike where AI is going to write like scripts about like I had this conversation with someone at work where they're just like eventually the technology is going to be so good that you could have whoever you want star in whatever show written by AI with a deep fake with the voice synthesizer and all this stuff and you can just say to your streaming app, hey streaming app, I want to watch Selma Hayek in a thriller about my life and my life is this is this and it pops it out and makes you a show and no one is even acting in it. It's just completely computer generated and
mm.
I don't think that's what this trailer is trying to imply, but I almost like the idea that that is what it is. And then the last trailer I wanted to mention because it's wild, The Blackening. The official trailer for The Blackening dropped. It's kind of like a what would you call, what was his name, uh the guy that kidnaps people in the horror movies. I'm drawing a blank.
I'm
Sorry.
not sure. I'm not sure what you're
It's
trying
a
to say.
it's the horror movies where a guy kidnaps people and they have to like it's always
Saw?
like Saw. So in the Blackening trailer, there's like a Saw-esque character, and it's all black actors stuck in this horror movie. And the idea is like, well, if you're all black characters, like who dies first? And then
Right.
the trailer is about the fact that they're trying to figure out who the blackest is. Um,
I thought I thought something happened where it was only black people were alive and they were like surviving because they were doing like, oh, I'm not going in there, I'm not doing this, and they're just getting to
no,
buy
so
everything.
the
I didn't know
trailer,
that was they're trying to
yeah,
figure out
the
who's the
trailer
black.
is yeah, when you're watching the trailer, they legit open the thing and it's just like, who's the blackest? And then this one guy is standing in the corner. He's just like, I'm the least black. And he's like, a Urkel character. And he's just like, I voted for Trump. And everyone's just like, oh God. And then he goes twice. And he's like, oh no. And then everyone attacks him. And so, the Blackening looks real crazy. It's coming out for Juneteenth weekend in the States, which
Oh
is a
wow.
wild thing. People are really excited for it. I know I want to see it because I think I love the idea of like because we've always had this thing. We all
Mhm.
know the black characters almost always die first, and especially in this story, there's a lot of
Unless it's the
moments.
movie The Mimic.
Oh, okay, but
Remember that was a
ultimately,
big thing.
yeah, ultimately this friend like the horror franchise, the horror genre tends to kill black people a lot. So
Yeah.
this trailer makes it really funny. And there's moments in the trailer where like the the black character two black characters are in the police officer's car and they're just like, okay, let's go, and the police officer's like, you two stay in here, I'm gonna go investigate. And everyone and then they show the audience and the audience is like, no, just leave. So in true horror fashion, it's just like, you know always going towards the sound.
Right.
So yeah, hopefully people like it. I think it's going to be a cool one. I'm looking forward to that one. Hopefully it comes out in Canada because I'm noticing we don't get all the movies in the States, which I knew,
Mm.
but some of them that I thought we would get, I'm kind of annoyed we don't.
Oh well.
And that's the whole show, folks. Jaws, anything you want to tell the people?
No, go and check out Transformers Slag and go and check out Transformers Rise of the Beasts when it comes out.
Yeah. Yeah. And go get your tickets for Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse because that's coming out this week. That's it, folks. Had a great time. Jaws, always a pleasure. We'll be back with a
Anytime.
new one soon. Peace, y'all.